The promise you forgot to keep. You owe it to yourself. Not to prove anything to anyone else, but to finally become the person you keep telling yourself you could be. You owe it to the version of you who once believed in something bigger, the one who dreamed before the world told them to be realistic. The one who saw possibilities instead of problems. The one who looked in the mirror and saw potential, not pressure. That version of you is still here, waiting. Waiting for you to stop making excuses, stop breaking promises, and start showing up. You've spent too long convincing yourself that you'll start when things calm down. When the timing's right. When life feels easier. But the truth is, it never gets easier. The perfect moment doesn't exist. And no one's going to hand you permission to begin. You owe yourself action even when it's messy. Even when you're tired. Even when it feels like no one believes in you. Because belief doesn't start with them. It starts with you. Every time you choose comfort over commitment, you chip away at your confidence. Every time you say tomorrow, you teach your mind that your dreams don't matter. And deep down, you know it. That's why it hurts. That's why the restlessness won't go away. It's not guilt, it's potential. It's your future self, whispering, "Don't give up on me." You owe it to yourself to stop running from your own greatness. To stop hiding behind fear. To stop pretending you're content living beneath your potential. Because you're not. And you never will be. You can distract yourself. You can silence that voice. But one day, you'll have to face the truth. You had everything it took and you wasted it. You don't owe the world perfection. You owe yourself effort. The promise was never to be the best. It was to be your best. That's what self-respect looks like. That's what real success feels like. Rebuilding the trust you broke. You've broken promises to yourself so many times that now, your words feel empty. You say, "This time, I'll change. This time, I'll stay consistent. This time will be different." But deep down, you don't even believe you anymore. And that's the pain most people never talk about, not the pain of failure. But the pain of no longer trusting yourself. You've told yourself too many lies. You've started and stopped so many times that even your reflection looks back in doubt. And that hurts more than any external judgment ever could. But here's the truth, you can rebuild that trust. Not with big promises. Not with grand declarations. But with quiet, consistent action. Do what you said you would do, especially when no one's watching. Even when no one cares. Even when it feels pointless. Because every time you follow through, you send yourself a message, "My word still matters." And that's where power begins to return. You don't rebuild confidence by shouting affirmations into the mirror. You rebuild it by taking action again and again. Until your reflection starts to believe you. Confidence doesn't come from saying, "I can." It comes from proving, "I do." Every time you show up, every time you stop negotiating with your excuses, you start to remember who you are. You stop seeking validation. You stop chasing approval. Because now, your respect comes from effort, not applause. You owe it to yourself to keep your promises, not because it's easy, but because it's sacred. The way you treat your commitments is the way you treat your potential. If you keep breaking your own word, you'll keep breaking your own future. But when you start honoring even the smallest promises, waking up when you said you would, training when you don't feel like it, creating when it's inconvenient, you begin rebuilding the muscle of belief. And that muscle changes everything. Because self-belief isn't built in a day. It's built in thousands of tiny moments of follow-through. One day, you'll look back and realize no one came to save you. No one came to motivate you. No one came to push you. It was always you. You were the hero you were waiting for. And when that truth sinks in, you'll stop waiting for motivation and start living from self-respect. The redemption you owe yourself. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your comeback. You don't owe apologies for choosing yourself again. You don't owe validation to the ones who doubted you. You owe yourself one thing: redemption. Because there's a version of you still waiting to be avenged, the version that gave up too soon, that accepted fine when they could have had freedom, that settled when they should have fought. That version of you isn't gone. They're watching, silently, hoping you'll try again. And now it's your responsibility to make things right. Not by talking about it, not by promising you'll change, but by doing something about it. You owe it to yourself to rise again. Even after you've failed. Even after you've fallen apart. Even after you've disappointed yourself. Because redemption doesn't begin when people forgive you, it begins when you forgive you. When you look in the mirror and say, "I'm not proud of everything I've done, but I'm not done." You rebuild by moving while you're scared. You rebuild by working while you're tired. You rebuild by showing up quietly, long before the results ever show. That's the real work, the unglamorous, unseen grind that transforms broken people into unstoppable ones. You owe it to yourself to stop quitting halfway. Because every time you quit, you train your brain to doubt your own word. But every time you finish, even when it's hard, even when it hurts, you teach yourself that you can be trusted again. And when you trust yourself, you become unstoppable. Because you no longer rely on motivation, you operate from identity. You're not someone who tries. You're someone who shows up. You stop hoping for second chances, you create them. You stop waiting for confidence, you earn it. You stop waiting for someone to push you, you decide to move. That decision, to rise again, is the most powerful promise you'll ever keep. Because this time, you're not doing it to prove anything. You're not doing it to impress anyone. You're doing it because you finally understand, you owe it to yourself. To the person you were. To the person you are. And to the person you're still becoming.